So
Yeah. I was wondering if he wanted to go live. Like, I was just thinking maybe he doesn't want to show his face for privacy reasons, or maybe he doesn't want to go live on YouTube. A lot of people ask for the Discord, but like, I don't know. I kind of find it pointless when there's only like 8 people and like probably 2 people will listen to us.
yeah, yeah. I
But
mean, I don't know. A lot of people that I know, I see a lot of people, they like have like they like join VC on Discord on their phone and they also stream at the same time. So like I
yeah,
don't
I
know how
need
they
the
do it.
setup. I need the setup.
Yeah.
I don't have the setup right now. I need to like maybe open some streaming software and it could work that way, but I just don't
Yeah.
have the setup at the moment. But yeah, that would be ideal to have that as well. Are you in any other Discords or are you just joining a couple probably, right?
My friend invited me to this one. I'm not
Oh, your
really
friend
yeah.
invited you to this one.
Yeah.
That's curious. I thought you might have found me from the YouTube. That's where like
Nah.
90% of people find me. Who's your friend in the
Nah.
chat? I'm curious. The pumpkin guy or whatever his name is?
I
Sorry, you just cut out.
it's a guy named Teague. I don't know if he's still in the Discord.
I don't know. A lot of people leave, a lot of people join, and a lot of people just get mad. I try not to offend anybody, but that Dustly guy, he loves offending people, but that's also my friend. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, where are you from, if you don't mind me asking, before we get into the political topics? You don't have to share if you don't want to. I'm just curious.
I live in New England. Like
New
I'm from New
England.
England, like that area, Northeast. Yeah. You?
I'm originally from Florida, Fort Myers, Florida. It doesn't have the best reputation. It's like 2 hours from Miami, an hour from Sarasota, around that. I don't know if you know it. You probably don't know it. But people are starting to join in now. And yeah, I do have one curious question to ask you. I don't want you to be offended at all, but I do have a great comparison since I obviously saw your bio about Palestine. But I mean, like, way more people have died in the Russian-Ukraine war. And, like, I always see ads on YouTube about, like, donate to Palestine, donate to Palestine. I mean, I get more people donated to Ukraine and stuff like that, but I mean, they could still use the money. And I never see anyone have a bio that says, like, free Ukraine or something like that, unless like they're actually from Ukraine. So I'm just curious. I mean, 60,000 people died. Yeah, I feel bad for all those Palestinians. Absolutely. That's tragic. I wish it never happened. But at the end of the day, like, almost maybe over 1 million people died in this Russia Ukraine situation. So, I mean, I'm sure you feel
Yeah.
bad for both of them, but
Yeah, I mean, the reason is, well, first, I'd like to say the actual numbers for deaths in Gaza right now are much higher than 60,000. 60,000 is the confirmed number of like identified bodies. There has been like independent analysis done by like international organizations, and uh, this is like a really outdated number. This is like from a year ago, but like a year ago they were saying like up to 200,000 people have died in Gaza so far. So the official numbers are way lower than the real amount. But the reason that a lot of people in the West specifically say a lot about Israel, but there's not really much to say about Ukraine, is because Israel is, in effect, an American puppet state. Whatever America says Israel has to do, Israel does. If without American military aid and without American economic aid, Israel does not exist. With Russia, there's not really much America can do to stop Russia from invading Ukraine. We can continue sending them military aid to help Ukraine, but outside of that, there's not really much we can do to force Russia's hand.
well, I would argue there's not much that we can really do to force Israel's hand. I mean, you can blame it on one person, you can blame it on Trump, you can blame it on this. And two things I want
Oh,
to
no,
say about Israel quick. First thing is, yes, I think it's horrible that they attacked on Iran first. Yes, they attacked Iran first, but some people, some political scholars will say, actually, no, Iran attacked them like 40 or 50 years ago. I'm not talking about 40 or 50 years ago. I'm just talking about the last decade or so. But also, the second thing is, I mean, I get that it's not the entire country of Palestine. It's mostly Hamas, but Hamas did attack Israel first. So just like Israel's getting bombed to shit right now, I mean, they should kind of expect that because they did attack. I mean, Palestine should kind of expect the same thing if they attack Israel first. And I agree. It's American puppet state, whatever you want to say. But also, I would kind of say that Ukraine is almost the same because they've been moved by money from foreign countries for years and years, and a lot of the money that we sent to Ukraine has not been well documented of where it's gone or what they're doing with it really.
Well, I would agree that America has a lot of leverage over Ukraine. I mean, America has essentially vassalized Ukraine. It's an American colony now. Uh, but the issue, the side that can stop the Ukraine war isn't Ukraine, it's Russia. They're the ones attacking. They're the ones with the leverage. Uh, and in the Israel-Gaza conflict and the war there, it's Israel with the one with the leverage. The difference there is that um, us having leverage over Ukraine, unless we go tell Ukraine, go like let Russia annex you, let Russia reinstall the 2014 puppet regime like Yanukovych, Russia's not going to like accept. Like we can't really unless you want the USA to force Ukraine into that sort of situation. There's not really much we can do there. But I mean, as I said earlier with Israel, if the United States cuts off military aid to Israel, cuts off economic aid to Israel, Israel has no choice but to end the conflict. But also, I wouldn't agree with the framing that Hamas was the one who attacked Israel on October 7th. I would encourage you to look into this is like in the past 2 decades, you know,
Yeah,
like
I see
movements like
someone's comment here. Not to interrupt you, but I see someone's comment here. But like I said when I first said, I'm talking about the last 10 or 20 years. Like I realize their conflict goes back 100,
well,
200,
I'm also talking about
hundreds of
the
years
past
ago,
10, 20
even
years.
50 years ago. Here, I'll let you
Well, yeah,
talk.
I'm talking
Sorry.
about I'm right now I'm talking about the last 10, 20 years. Yeah. The first intifada was, I believe, 2001. I could get that wrong, but it's somewhere within that range.
That was
The
over
first
20
intifada,
years ago. Sorry.
I mean, it's in with the ballpark. There's the second intifada, which was in the 2010s. But the first intifada was essentially you had a protest movement protesting against, Israel's mistreatment, because Israel since 1967, I believe, has been occupying both Gaza and the West Bank. And basically there was a large protest movement of Palestinians who were protesting against Israeli mistreatment of Palestinians within the occupied territories. It was a peaceful protest. And the way Israel responded to this was by rolling up tanks and like putting us snipers up on the walls and shooting kids' heads off. Like, uh, I don't know how you can say that other than like incredibly like offensive behavior by Israel, incredibly, belligerent behavior by Israel. And also, you have there's I mean there I could go into the whole history of Israel propping Hamas up against the PLO in order to sow division between the Palestinian movements. But within more recent history as well, there's like Israel, like the IDF says that they're like mowing the lawn. Like every couple of years or so, they'll go in, they'll like do massacres within the West Bank or within Gaza because they're mowing the lawn and they'll pull out. I think framing it as if Hamas started the conflict in October 7th, 2023, even like I'm not even going back to like the origins of Israel, is very misleading, I would say.
Someone said 2,000 years ago. Sorry, I just want to read a couple comments before I respond to that. Someone said 2,000 years ago the war started. Someone else corrected you and said 1947. You said 1967. I think it was in the 40s as well. I think
No, uh,
1947 is real, but
no,
that doesn't really matter.
1948. 1948 was the Nakba when Israel was first established. After the Nakba, both Jordan and Egypt occupied Gaza and the West Bank, respectively. After, I believe it was the Six-Day War, where they attacked Israel again, Israel occupied the West Bank and Gaza.
Yeah, they have a really long history. Absolutely agree. Yes, they did whatever you said, blow up little kids' heads and stuff like that. But they do have a really, really, really long history. Like someone said, 2,000 years. And also, let's talk about Iran for a second. Getting off topic, many people will say the reason that Israel attacked Iran first is because I think it was maybe, I don't know the exact dates to be honest, but they said that Iran was attacked Israel during their holy days, which is also really, really offensive. I mean, I would say that definitely Iran has done war crimes. And also, I wanted to ask you about, have you seen the what is it called? The View the other day. That shit was absolutely horrible. She compared living in America to living in Iran. She said living in America as a black woman is like living in Iran, and she started to say, "Oh, some gay people get in trouble or discriminated against." I mean, that's nothing compared to what's going on in Iran. If you're gay or you're a woman showing too much skin and stuff like that, then you'll get hung in public or you'll get killed or tortured or anything like that. And yeah, the history is really long. I'm not gonna keep going back and forth and saying, oh, and this year Palestine did this and this year Israel did this, because that's just going to be like a debate going back like hundreds of years, and I'm going to have to pull up my computer, and it really doesn't matter who attacked first at the end of the day. I would argue both are doing war crimes. Maybe you'll just say that Israel is doing all the war crimes. I do agree that the US is funding the majority of Israel for most of the time, but I don't think that the war would stop if we stopped funding them, because Israel has plenty of money. Like many Democrats, I mean, I know you're not a Democrat. At least you said you're not a Democrat. I don't know if you voted for Harris or Biden. Maybe you can speak on that as well. But many Democrats think that, you know, Jewish people run the world. I mean, I would say what you're saying is fine. But when you say like anti-Semitic stuff like, oh, Jewish people run the world, they're the reason I'm a failure, they're the reason I don't have a wife and I'm not a millionaire, I would say that's kind of pushing the line of anti-Semitism. But like, of course, critiquing them about Palestine, yeah, that's fine or whatever. But like many
Yeah,
Democrats will say this and that about them. But at the end of the day, like, you know, they have money. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. They don't run the world, but they have money. They do run a lot of the banking system. Please don't deplatform me, YouTube, for saying this. Don't delete all my social medias. Uh, I'm just saying this because it has actually happened to people before. But no, they do have a lot of money, and I don't know how much money they have on paper or how much money they say they have, but I think they could fight and blow up countries and blow up wars and destroy entire nations probably for decades with the amount of money they have. So that's an interesting topic. Maybe that's something more I can debate on. That the U.S. is like the sole reason that. I mean, I get the U.S. keeps giving them millions and millions of aid, and yes, we are like the reason they have so much money. I agree with that, but we've given them so much money at this point. I don't think it's going to stop. But hit the like and subscribe button, guys, because we're at 0 likes right now. So please hit the like, subscribe button. If someone has a question they want us to talk about, drop a super chat or just drop a question if you have anything you want me to ask about. Bro, making anti-Semitic comments after saying Democrats are anti-Semitic. No, I'm just giving an example of the kind of stuff that they say. I mean, I'm not sure if you believe in that. I'm not sure like what kind of comments you would have like that. I mean, you don't seem like you have any negative comments. You're just criticizing them about the deaths. And at the end of the day, I do have criticism for Israel too. Like I said, I don't think they should have attacked Iran first. I don't think they should be so vicious and killer. I don't really like Netanyahu, but I'm not going to blame an entire country and a group of people. And I don't know how you feel about Trump. I don't think you like him, but I don't think Trump likes Netanyahu either, because they're having like, you know, public disagreements and stuff like that. Maybe you think he likes Netanyahu, but if you ask me, the person that's making the U.S. give them so much money isn't the president. It's something, I mean, you can call me a conspiracy theory, but I think it's someone in the deep state, or it's some politicians, CPAC and stuff like that, or like the reason. I mean, I call that the deep state, but CPAC and stuff like
yeah.
that are the reason that they get constant funding. And I don't think the U.S. is the only country that funds them, but please hit the like and subscribe button. Someone drop a super chat or something for us.
Yeah, I will say, the reason a lot of pro-Palestinian people are against Israel as a state, you have to go back to the establishment of Israel in order to understand it. If you want to go into that history, we could. The current conflict is not the reason. I mean, it reinforces why they say it, but the roots of why Zionism as an ideology is bad and shouldn't be indulged, you have to go way back. Uh, but what was I going to say? I mean, obviously, those types of anti-Semitic comments. I've heard more of those from like Candace Owens types on like the far right.
Oh, I hate Candace
Um,
Owens. I don't care if she
yeah, yeah,
supports Trump or if
fucking
she's a
Littler.
Republican. Fuck her.
Yeah, yeah. Like I've heard it more from those types of people. A lot of people on the left, what they get, you have organizations like the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, whose like their entire purpose is to like point out people who are anti-Israel and call them anti-Semitic. And a lot of the calling people anti-Semitic on the left comes from those types of organizations. I've not really heard those types of like actually anti-Semitic comments coming from left like wing pro-Palestinian people, at least in my personal experience. Uh, and on Trump, I will say the one thing I will give Trump is that it is a very low bar, but he has been the best president on our foreign policy to Israel since Jimmy Carter. So, uh, like it's a very low bar, but it's there at least. Uh, I don't know if that's from like him personally not liking Netanyahu, or just like, I don't know, Trump's foreign policy doesn't really make a lot of sense if you know how America usually does its foreign policy. It's not even, it doesn't really make sense for like an isolationist or like imperialist framework. It's just like, especially the stuff like shutting down Radio Free Asia and Radio Free Europe, that stuff just seems like, I don't know how you'd explain it.
Was that
Uh,
USAID funded?
yeah, I believe so, yeah.
That's probably why then. I don't think. I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
listen,
but
I have people in Europe that lost their job because of Trump. Yes, I feel bad, but at the end of the day, I realize that we're a debtor's nation. We can't afford to pay other people's jobs and pay for all their stuff 24/7. And yes, I think that we should stop giving money to Israel. We agree there, but I also agree we should stop giving money to European countries because America should be first. Like, it doesn't matter what country, what religion, or any of that. We should be putting America first.
I mean, I would agree that America should go into isolation, for different reasons, though. Um, I mean, with like the USAID stuff, I completely agree. USAID, kill that thing. I hate it so much. It's like America, from my point of view, ever since the end of, I mean, not even since World War II, since like the end of the Spanish-American War, has been operating like a global empire. And I don't think empire building is good for anyone. Actually, it is. It's good for the few people, within the deep state, that was what you would call it, at the very top of society, the ruling class. It's good for them. But for everyone else, including you and me within America, it sucks. We're the ones who pay the taxes. We're the ones who pay with blood to conquer these territories, and then you have fucking motherfuckers like Dick Cheney and Halliburton making all the money. Like,
Yeah, fuck Dick Cheney.
yeah, like American isolation within the short term, it could lead to bad things, for bad results for Americans. But within the long term, I think it will allow for a better society to emerge, and also just like we're no longer raping and pillaging the third world. So from both of those axes, it's a good thing.
Two
Uh,
things I wanted to bring up, but if you want to keep talking, go ahead.
yeah. I mean, there's one more thing I was gonna say, but I forgot. So go on.
First thing I wanted to say was, yeah, I don't know what your opinion is. Do you think that Trump is better with, policy and economics and stuff than Biden and Obama? And also, Trump said that he wants to take all the U.S. military bases out of other countries. I don't think that's going to happen. And also, I think that there are some pros to it. Very, very few pros, but there's also cons. A lot of cons to that as well. But I mean, there's pros and cons. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. Yes, it protects some nations. Those military bases protect some people, protect some nation, but probably 80, maybe 90% of them are just there doing nothing, wasting taxpayer dollars, pissing off other countries, pretty much. Someone said Obama 2028. I don't think he's going to run. And if he did, I think he would lose. He tried to prop up Harris, and she still lost. But drop a like and subscribe button, guys.
Yeah, I don't really like Obama or Biden. I mean, it's been I don't really like any U.S. president in history. I think I like FDR a little bit. I think LBJ was okay, but I don't really. Yeah,
What did you think
outside of
about
those,
Bernie? Do you side more with Bernie or any of the candidates that ever ran? Do you like any of the
I used
candidates that ever ran?
I used to really like Bernie, but I've kind of grown a bit disillusioned with him. Same with people like AOC. I don't really. I think I don't know. They offer short-term solutions at best, which is better than the rest of the American political spectrum, which offers no solutions. But
I know who you might like since you don't like Israel. Maybe you'll like Kanye 2028.
no, no, yeah, yeah, bro. I gotta vote for Candace Owens,
Candace Owens? Are
but
you kidding?
not bro. Candace Owens with a K.
Okay, yeah, Candace Owens. Yeah, she's pretty freaking weird. I think she's bought and sold pretty easily, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, I think I honestly I don't know. She might just be doing it for the love of the game at this point, because she what was the thing she was at, the fucking Ben Shapiro's at, like right now, like the big, like the news organization, or
I
quote
don't like
unquote
Ben
news
Shapiro
organization.
either. I don't really know.
Oh yeah, who the fuck likes Ben Shapiro?
I don't know. I've never met one single person. I don't care if you love Trump. I've never met one single person that likes Ben Shapiro. I don't know how he's. Someone's talking about Tucker Carlson. What do you think about his recent debate with what's that guy's name? Ted Cruz.
I haven't kept up with Tucker Carlson since the whole Putin interview, so I don't know any about
What,
that.
that completely just threw him out of your mind for you? You heard him
Yeah,
talking with
I
Putin
mean,
and you're like, done.
well, no, not that. It's like I just haven't seen him. Like, he got fired from Fox, and then he did like the Putin interview, and ever since then, I just haven't seen anything from him.
Some idiot said 0 likes. We actually got 6 likes, but smash the like button. Someone leave a super chat for us, please. I like Charlie Kirk. Ugh, what do you think about Charlie Kirk?
He's I really don't like Charlie Kirk. I think he's one of the more dangerous examples of propagandists in America. Uh,
What propaganda does he spread?
I mean, okay, I mean, Charlie Kirk is like a fucking fascist. Like, come on. Like,
I don't think so, but I do think that he debates a bunch of dumbasses, and I don't like him for that reason. He
I mean,
debates weak
he does,
targets.
yeah, he does like the Ben Shapiro type grift where he goes to college campuses and he like talks to kids who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and he tries to use that to peddle like very far right narratives, especially about race. Uh,
I haven't heard him say anything racist. I would condemn him if I heard him say something racist. He loves talking about immigration. That was the next thing I was going to ask you about.
I mean, I personally am very pro-immigration, but the way I would prefer it happening is not. I don't think it'll happen in the USA. The way the USA manages immigration is very bad, very, very bad. Um, it's a very broken system.
It's a broken
Uh,
system, but I think mostly every immigration system is broken. And also, I was looking at the 10 hardest countries to immigrate to, and the US wasn't even in the top 10, surprisingly. I thought it would be, but yeah,
no,
I
you
love
have like.
immigrate. What were you just going to say?
No, I was gonna say like you have countries like China, North Korea, like fucking Turkmenistan, like where you just
I
can't
don't
get
even
in.
think
So,
those were on the list. I don't think those were on the list. Number one was like hardest country to immigrate was like Qatar or something like that, some country in the Middle East.
oh yeah.
But yeah, I love immigration too. Like I've immigrated to 2 countries legally. I love immigrants. I have people that my family that are Mexican. One of them actually came into the country illegally, but then figured out that they did actually have legal citizenship through their family. I forget the whole situation, but they're now supporting Trump. They don't believe in illegal immigration, and I know that we have lots of immigration problems, and you can say deporting people to prison camps or whatever you want to call it is horrible, but you got to look at some other countries like Poland. They don't give the peaceful option to just deport people. If you come into their country illegally, if they see you jumping over their fence, they shoot to kill. They'll shoot you in the back of the head and you'll die. Like that seems way worse than just peacefully deporting people. And also, Trump's giving people like $1,000 or something and a free plane ticket to leave the country if they entered illegally, which seems pretty nice and peaceful to me. I'm surprised people like harsh on him so much. I mean, I know there's been issues. I know you can say due process, but we do have the Alien Enemies Act that is federal law. Supreme Court did try to appeal it. They were successful, but then Trump went back to the Supreme Court and it successfully is now still in law since I believe a month or two ago it came back into law.
Yeah, I mean, I personally on U.S. immigration, I don't blame Trump. This has been an issue. Presidents like Obama. Obama has deported way more people than Trump ever has, and if Trump continues deporting people at the rate he's currently deporting, he's not going to reach Obama numbers. He's not even going to reach Biden numbers. Uh, so like I don't blame Trump for the current structure. Absolutely not. This is just an issue America's had for a very, very long time. Uh, what I would say though is that I don't know if the what you said about Poland is true. What I've seen, I mean, I haven't kept up with Polish immigration for a while, but I mean, from what I've been seeing, they've just been funneling Ukrainian refugees over to Germany, from what I've seen. Uh,
I heard they accept Ukrainian refugees, actually. I haven't heard anything about them funneling them over. I heard that they're a really hard country to immigrate to. The only people that they'll sometimes accept is Ukrainian refugees. Anyone else, they really don't care about. But definitely look it up. I mean, if you have a computer near you, you can look it up right now if you want to see. But I'm pretty much 90% sure that anyone that they see coming over their border, they shoot and kill. That's why they have like no immigration crossings. Yes, it sounds horrible, but they virtually have no one trying to escape. So it's not like they're murdering like thousands of people weekly. It's like a rare occurrence because they have the military heavily militarized. Like I know we kind of dismilitarized our border with some tanks and stuff like that, but they have like full like army there and everything. I mean, I think we have the Marines and some Marines and some tanks and stuff like that, but theirs is like 100 times more militarized.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that after the stream. Yeah. Uh, what I would prefer for U.S. immigration isn't that type of structure because, I mean, the USA and other Western countries, I mean, we do have like a birth rate like an issue. We're if we go the way we're currently going, we're gonna have like a South Korea type issue where we're gonna have to like cut Social Security, we're gonna have to cut benefits for elderly people. We're just not gonna be able to take care of the elderly in our society because we just don't have enough people working. And I mean, I don't think we're gonna get it. I don't think like we're gonna magically get our birth rates up. So I mean, some level of immigration is necessary. Instead of the way we have it now, where I mean, because the USA, the way we do it, it's really bad because we actually break international law when it comes to the Mexican border and like our southern border because you have people who when somebody illegally crosses the border, they're meant to be, according to international law, they have a right to apply for asylum. So they have to go to like a local police department or like a courthouse or whatever to apply for asylum. But the way we're doing it is we're like picking people up before they can get to those places, or like we're picking them up there. And instead of letting them apply for asylum, we're just putting them in like domestic, essentially concentration camps. Like I'm not even talking about like the El Salvador thing. This has been going on since way before Trump. Like even like under Obama, this was a huge issue. And like they're putting them in these camps and they're not letting them apply for asylum. And this has a chilling effect on other people coming over the border, but other people trying to immigrate. Uh, because I mean they're like, shit, if I try to apply for asylum, I'm gonna get put in a concentration camp. So
Well, two things I gotta say. First thing is, I would definitely not call it a concentration camp. I've heard this from many other Democrats, many other people. Yes, I agree. It's really horrible conditions. I know under Obama's administration, they were put in cages. Kids were put in cages, yes. But I would still argue, even if you barely had any food, barely any water, and you were put in a cage, this was 100 times better than a concentration camp where you have to do manual labor with no food, getting tortured in gas chambers. Like, we
well,
can't forget how bad
that's not what a
concentration
concentration camp
camps
means.
really
Uh,
were. Well, I'm talking about the concentration camps that the Jews were put into. I'm not
oh
talking
yeah.
about some other concentration camps. They were tortured. They were meant to do manual labor. They were so thin. They were had no meat on their bones. They were so thin they couldn't even like do anything at all. We've never seen anything like that. We at least give them 3 meals a day, the basic necessities. I wouldn't call 3 meals a day a concentration camp, but that's up for the debate. And yeah, maybe we are breaking international law. I've never heard that point being made before, but I mean, other nations don't govern our country. It's America at the end of the day. And if we're breaking international law, and it's been like that for a long time, no country or no the United Nations has, as far as I know, has never tried to intervene in our matters. So maybe
I mean, we
they
control the
realize
UN.
countries can have their own immigration law, and I think every country should have their own immigration laws. And yeah, I do see what you're saying. I do like how you don't blame it all on Trump and you point out what a main fact that Democrats don't want to point out about Obama and the 3 million and Biden, I think almost 2 million, maybe 2 million, I think,
I don't know the
illegal
exact numbers.
immigrants.
Yeah,
Sorry?
I don't remember the exact numbers. I'd have to check.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Biden was 2 million, Obama was over 3 million, maybe like 3.2, 3.5. But you haven't really discussed like what do you think about illegal immigrations? I know that they should have asylum. I 100% agree with that, but and you said before Trump that they were being deported and kicked out of the country because they couldn't apply for asylum. I mean, I think that's especially right now because we have the Alien Enemies Act. So a lot of these people that come from countries that are quote unquote enemy countries or countries with terrorist organizations, unfortunately, they're getting kicked out. But at the end of the day, a lot of people try for asylum anyway and they fail. But I'll let you speak your part now. I don't think I have much more to say.
Yeah, I mean, the Alien Enemies Act right now, it's not really being used to just kick people out indiscriminately. It's more targeted politically. I think, uh, I mean, my personal opinion is that uh, America very rarely has independent, non-rigged elections. I don't think America is a democracy at all, the way we function. Even in the best case scenario, we have like the parties pick two candidates, and then it's a popularity poll between the two candidates.
Yeah, I
And I
agree
think
there.
that right now we have the way it is right now. I think it's like a Nixon situation where Donald Trump has been put in power to crush, a protest movement, like the pro-Palestinian protest movement. And just like how Nixon was put in power to crush the anti-war Vietnam movement, anti-Vietnam War movement, and they are being put in power so they can do illegal stuff to crush these movements, and then after they're done they can be gotten rid of, and then the liberal establishment, the establishment, the so-called deep state, can be like, oh, it was just like the mean Republican, it was just the mean fascists. This isn't how the system normally works, even though it completely is. Like Obama did the same shit, Biden did the same shit, but they'll just point out, like just like they did with the fucking prison camps, or not, the camps that we put like immigrants into, illegal immigrants into. They'll just point at Donald Trump and they'll be like, it's all his fault, move along, and they'll preserve the system that way while still crushing the movement. Uh, like the way that the Alien Enemies Act is being used, it's targeting people like Mahmoud Khalil, people like Rumeysa Öztürk, who are, pro-Palestinian activists. It's not because they're, dangerous to the United States or whatever. It's literally just because they're doing political advocacy.
I have something to say to that. Yeah, maybe you can say they're political activists, this or that, but I mean, yes, I don't want people in Palestine to die. I think it's horrible, but I also won't ignore that every single protest, it doesn't matter if it's a Trump protest, it doesn't matter if it's Jan 6 or if it's the ICE protest, every single protest is normally, violence in America, and it leads to some violence. I know I know the First Amendment. I'm all for protesting and stuff like that. I'm not trying to say stop it. And also, the United States has basically any country in the world has the power to revoke student visas. So if they don't want you in their country, it's not a God given right to be in America and study. It's a gift from God. It's a gift from the country. You're a guest here. Any country can pretty much do this. If they don't like what you say, and every country has limited limits to free speech. There's no such thing as a free speech country. In every country, there's some stuff that you can't say that'll either get you deplatformed, locked up, different stuff like that. I don't know exactly the cases with those two things, but I heard about them before. Maybe even if they were completely, peaceful protest or whatever they want, but they're, you know, what's the word for it? They're agitating populations of people. Whenever you're a guest in a country and you come there to agitate a population of another country that you're a guest in, you can pretty much expect to be kicked out. Like I would never go to another country. I mean, I told you I've immigrated to two countries. I would never go to another country and agitate an entire population and expect not to get kicked out. I would never agitate an entire population. I mean, like I said, I kind of agree with some of your points there, but I would never go to another country and agitate a population and expect not to be kicked out. Doesn't matter if they have freedom of press, freedom of speech, that doesn't exist in reality in every single country I've seen before. But I get that it's kind of going against some. You can argue that it's going against some constitutional things and stuff like that, but there's also different aspects, and maybe Supreme Court should look at this or something. I don't know if they have or what the situation is.
I mean, I agree. Within, like, matter of fact, if you're looking at, especially like capitalist states, if you are protesting against capitalism or against imperialism, I mean, they're not going to like you. They're going to try to shut you the fuck up, and trying to deport you is one way. But I mean, if you're looking at it legally, you can't just revoke somebody's visa because you feel like it. And people like Mahmoud Khalil didn't just have a visa. Mahmoud Khalil had a green card. Like he was a legal permanent resident in the United States, and
Green
both with
card,
visas
wait,
and green cards.
green card is not legal permanent residency. Just so we're clear, you have to take a citizenship test. A green card and a visa are basically the same thing. They're not permanent residency. A green card
No,
is not permanent residency. You have to pass
green
a
card
citizen.
is
You have to pass a citizenship test.
no, you green card. If you have a green card, you are. I mean, you have to get it renewed every like 10 years or so.
That means you're not a
But
citizen. That
well, yeah,
means
you can be a
you're not a
permanent resident
permanent
without being a
citizen.
citizen. You can.
Yeah, permanent reticent is you're not permanent. You have to renew it every 10 years. That's kind of going against what you just said. If you have to renew anything, if you have to do more paperwork, you're not a permanent reticent, and you're not a citizen. So
I mean, I
if you
think
didn't take a
the
citizenship test, let me finish. I'll let you
yeah.
talk. If you didn't take a citizenship test, then you're pretty much in the same boat as green card holders and visas. Both of them can be removed for a couple reasons. One of the first reason is concern for public safety. That can pretty much be virtually anything can be concern for public safety. Second thing is involvement with a terrorist organization. Can be MS-13, can be Hamas, can be anything like that. And you don't even have to be found guilty of it. You just have to be suspected of involvement with a terrorist organization and also suspected of danger to public safety. So technically, legally, you can't be removed for, whatever. But if you fit any of these very broad legal spectrums, you can be removed. So basically, you can be removed for anything if you're not doing anything, if you're just minding your own business, yeah, you probably won't be removed because of the legal framework. But if you're causing agitation or even slight agitation, even a slight concern for public safety, it's in the immigration law. I can send you the statute. If you're concerned for public safety, you can be removed. Your student visa, your green card, both of those things can be revoked, unfortunately. I'm not supporting this. I'm just telling you how the law is.
Legally speaking, I don't know what you're referring to, but I read through the Department of State's like the Department of State has like a handbook for people like overviewing visas for like when you can and can't revoke a visa. And the big main thing there, I don't really see threat to public safety on there. The big main thing on
Concern
there,
for public safety.
or yeah, concern for public safety. I don't see that on there. The main thing there is like if they're like a criminal, if they have committed a crime, especially a violent offense, that's cause to remove visas. But neither for Mahmoud Khalil or Rumeysa Öztürk, that's not what happened. I mean, especially Rumeysa Öztürk. Rumeysa Öztürk, all she did was she wrote like an article saying the USA should not support Israel. Like she wrote like an op-ed for a university. That's it. Uh, like I think I don't know this type of stuff from a legal framework, from what I've looked at, it's not legal. But also, just like I don't think we should base our arguments in like legality. I think just morally speaking, we should not be trying to kick people out for advocating against a genocide or like just trying to silence speech about that. Because I think I hope you would agree that Nixon's attempts to shut down the Vietnam War protests were bad because the Vietnam War was bad, like right, like I think you're frozen. Oh, you're back now. Oh, you're muted, I think. I can't hear you.
Sorry, my phone froze. I was also muted, but I'm back now.
Your mic's being a little weird.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's better.
Yeah, my phone was overheating, but continue where you left off. Hey,
What was the last
Patriot
thing you
Dad.
heard? What was the last thing you heard?
The last thing I heard was about the lady that you were saying, how she just wrote a letter.
Oh, you cut out again. Your mic.
The last thing I heard was about a lady that wrote a letter.
Yeah, Rumeysa Öztürk is one of the people being held hostage essentially by ICE, where all she did was she wrote like an op-ed for a university where she was just like, the United States should stop supporting Israel and Israel is committing a genocide. That's pretty much all she did. I don't know how you would frame that as threat to public safety or like a crime. I mean, even threat to public safety isn't cause, anyways. Cause you'd have to commit a crime, and I don't know how you
It
would
is a
classify
cause.
them
It
as
is a
a.
cause. I can promise you that. I'll send you the law after this. I'll send you the immigration statute. It's not a law, actually. Immigration statute.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Please do. After I can also send you the Department of State handbook that I'm going off of.
Yes,
Uh,
I get that, but I'm going off immigrant statutes. This is like all about immigration statutes, and I don't know about the other thing.
yeah. I mean, still, I don't know how you would construe writing an article saying that the United States should not support another country as threat to public safety.
I don't know the
Also, I
story
mean,
of her, so I can't really speak on it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's literally all she did. Uh, yeah, the thing I said after that was, I think that right now we're talking legalistically, and I don't think that, even though from my perspective, what Donald Trump is doing here is clearly illegal, I don't think we should be basing our arguments in legality. We should be basing our arguments in morality, what is right, and I don't think that shutting down a protest movement that is advocating for an end to war, an end to mass slaughter, is moral. Just like I would say, I hope you would also agree that Richard Nixon trying to crack down on the Vietnam War protesters was wrong, because the Vietnam War was an incredibly brutal, incredibly wrong thing that the United States did. And yeah, I hope you agree that, like, the
Well, I
protesters were
agree it
completely in the right
was
thing.
wrong, but I wasn't around and I don't know about the protest and I don't know what happened, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend just because I don't like the war that I agree that the protest should have happened and stuff like that. Either way, the protests make no difference. The war still happened and it's over now, but someone in the comments is asking if you're gay, but another thing I have to talk about, a really funny thing is that people, LGBTQ people support Palestine, but the ironic part is that the Muslim religion, does not accept homosexuality, and quite literally, the Palestine people hate homosexuality. The ones that are really Muslim, most of them are super Muslim. Not saying all of them, but the irony is that they don't support them. The LGBTQ community sometimes supports Palestine, but Palestine definitely does not support the LGBTQ. At least 80 to 90% of them despise the LGBTQ community. I
I
personally
don't know where you're
love
getting those
everybody.
numbers from. If you're looking at Islam specifically, I'm personally am Turkish, so I come from my roots are Turkish. I speak Turkish.
Turkey
I am
is not
Turkish.
super Muslim. I work with
No, Turkey is very
a
Muslim.
top.
We have a fucking
No,
Erdogan,
it's
our fucking
Muslim,
president
but
right
it's
now
not
is like
super Muslim.
no, it's very Muslim. Our president right now is Erdogan. He is an Islamist.
Yes, yeah,
Ideologically,
yeah.
he is very similar to like fucking Khamenei in Iran. Like, uh,
Yeah, but I'm saying the people. The people are not. It's not like it's not a suit. It's not like the people I've met from Turkey. I've met 50 people from there probably in the last month or two, and they're not super Muslim. Like for example, they still eat pork. Some of them are still gay. Some of them Most of them drink alcohol. It's like Bosnians. Bosnians are Muslim, but most of them drink and eat pork. I would not call that super Muslim. I would not call that, you know, very, very Muslim. And I don't know 100%. I don't know if you've been to Turkey or not because I haven't been to Turkey. So I'm not speaking from
I have, yeah.
experience, but the majority of them I don't think are, I mean, at least the ones I meet are not extremely like super Muslim. Like a lot of them eat pork and a lot of them drink. But either way, I agree it's a Muslim country. I'm not going to debate if it's super Muslim or if it's just regular Muslim. But
Yeah, but
my main
the point
point
I'm trying to
was
make,
that
yeah,
Palestine is a majority, probably more Muslim than Turkey. I mean, we don't have to debate this either. I really don't know. It doesn't really matter. But the majority of them are Muslims, and most Muslims don't support LGBTQ. At least the ones that are actually like devoted Muslims.
I mentioned Turkey because I wanted to bring up a point about the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire, I don't know if you know the history of the Ottoman Empire, was extremely, extremely Muslim empire. It was the seat of the Muslim Caliphate. And homosexuality was legal under the Ottoman Empire. It was a very widespread thing. Like, there's not really the big push against homosexuality is more to do with the post World War One. I can go into the history if you want. The British in the aftermath of World War One supporting the Wahhabist and Salafi Muslim movements, who are like the Saudis and ISIS now. So
Doesn't the
the that's
Quran go against homosexuality? I'm not talking about political or social factors. I'm talking about the actual book for the Muslims, the Quran. The As far as I know, I mean, I don't know if you're Muslim. I don't know if you're gay. I'm not trying to piss you off in any way. It really doesn't matter to me either way. I know people that are Muslim and gay, but I'm just pointing out. I mean, the Bible says the same thing. Plenty of Christians that are gay, but doesn't the Quran speak against homosexuality? I'm pretty sure it does. And most Palestinians and most extremely Muslim people in general do not support homosexuality. It doesn't matter if you're LGBTQ and you support Palestine. I'm just saying most Palestinians do not support LGBTQ. I'm not saying about the Ottoman Empire. I'm not talking about some social aspects. I'm just talking about Muslims and the Quran and their support for homosexuality.
I mean, I'm trying to say, like, Muslim people historically have not been, very anti-homosexuality like you're portraying, and especially within Palestine. I mean, Hamas isn't the only group within the Gaza Strip. You have many very left-wing organizations like the PFLP, the DFLP, and others who are very pro-homosexuality. I mean, the Western media likes to paint Hamas as like the only power broker within Gaza, and that's just not true. Uh, like, I don't know, like, and even then, even if that was true, I mean, even if they were homophobic, even if they was like a huge homophobic like population within the Gaza Strip or within Palestine, it doesn't change the fact that there's a genocide going on there, and genocide is wrong.
Absolutely, it
And
doesn't change it. But I'm just pointing out the quite obvious. I'm guessing maybe you are gay because you're defending it a little bit. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. You don't have to
I'm
tell
not
me.
gay.
But
No.
I would
Yeah.
never say. I mean, I love gay people. I support, LGBTQ, lesbian, bisexual. I don't care what you are, but I would never say that Christians are gay or have some kind of history with gay. And I don't think, some Christians have different religion, different what's the word for it? Like Lutheran, Orthodox and stuff like that. And some of them are more open to homosexuality and stuff like that. I really don't care, like I said at the end of the day, but I would never say Christians as a whole are have a homosexual history and that they're gay. And I mean, that just kind of sounds like propaganda to me. It doesn't
I
really
mean, that's not what I'm
matter,
saying.
like you
Yeah.
said, it doesn't really matter. But
Yeah, I mean, as I said, like, there is, I mean, anyone with a heart is what I'll say should be pro-Palestine because it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, whatever. Eh, I mean, there's like some social development theory that I could go into with you if you want. But I mean, the current state, the current sentiments of the Palestinian population aren't really relevant. I don't know. Like, back in like World War II, gay people should have still supported the Jews against the Nazis, even if the Jews were like homophobic. Uh, like it's that kind of situation.
yes, they
Genocide is
should have
wrong.
supported them, but really, they shouldn't because that's going against their ideology. And also, somebody dropped me a super chat. Somebody dropped us super chats. But yes, you can say they should have supported them this and that. But when two ideas crash, when two people have two different ideas, they don't support each other. It's like saying Hitler should have supported the Jews. Obviously, what he did was horrible, but they believe two different things.
Well, this
So it's
isn't an
probably never going to
ideological.
happen.
This is not an ideological thing. This is like a humanitarian thing. Like the example I gave about like uh, I don't know, like if Jewish people were, if there was like a narrative about Jewish people being like homophobic, gay people should have still supported the Jews because it's not about like, oh no, gay people are or sorry, Jewish people are homophobic, we can't support them. It's these people are being genocided. There are crimes against humanity happening, and this is wrong. We need to work against this. We need to fight against this. And their sentiments right now don't really matter. What matters is that we need to stop the genocide.
No, I agree, but I would never tell a gay person to support someone that openly hates them. I would never tell somebody LGBTQ, even if they feel bad for another person, oh, they're getting murdered. If this person says fuck you and fuck everything you stand for and calls you the F word and all these slurs and is heavily against you, I would never go up to that person and be like, come on, bro, you should still support them. There's people dying in Palestine. They probably don't give a fuck, to be honest. They'll just be like, this
Well,
person just called me a faggot and he says he hopes I die. Like, should I support this? Or,
well,
I
we're
mean,
not
should I
talking about
still support
individuals
him?
here. We're not talking about individuals here. We're talking about an entire group of people. And like even if like 70% of them are homophobic or whatever, which I mean, I've not seen any evidence to show that, uh like you still have 30% that are getting fucking genocided.
I wouldn't
And
say
that's like there's
30%. I
2
would say
million
like
people within the Gaza
90% of
Strip.
them are
That's like
Muslim. And I would
okay,
never
even
tell you, like an evangelical Christian, like supports homosexuality, or I would never tell you like a Christian supports homosexuality. Maybe some of them do, but I'm not gonna like make a general claim that's obviously against their holy book. Like I'm not gonna make a generalized claim when it says in the Bible and in the Quran. And yes, there's different versions of the Bible, but as far as I know, every single version of the Quran is pretty much against homosexuality. And I'm not. Like I said, I love people of all races, religions. Doesn't matter your sexuality to me at all. I still love you, brother. I still love everybody. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat, gay. I really don't care. But I'm just trying to point out like a little bit of hypocrisy and a little bit of clashing between the LGBTQ and Palestine. I mean, it's funny that the majority of them support Palestine, but when stuff happens to gay people, Palestine isn't like, oh, look at all these gay people getting killed in Iran. Look at all of them getting killed in Iran. They don't say anything about gay people getting killed in Iran because, if you're gay in Iran, they'll kill you. The Palestine doesn't say anything about that. They don't speak about other Muslim countries killing homosexual people. They don't speak about, all these other Muslim countries that openly kill gay people. I mean, you can say that some Muslims are gay, but the countries that are really strictly Muslim, like Iran, is killing gay people. There's many other Muslim countries that'll kill gay people. I don't want to say a country and be wrong, but maybe countries like Saudi Arabia, I'm pretty sure, is against homosexuality, and other countries like this. Maybe Qatar, I think, maybe some other countries. I really don't know, but
I mean, even if it was 90%, the population of the Gaza Strip is 2 million people. That's like by my calculations, you got what, like 400,000 people that are just completely like not even if we're saying 90%, that's 400,000 people who aren't part of that 90%. And if 400,000 people dying, even if you don't count the other 90%, that's still horrible. Like the and even then, this just completely is not relevant. Palestinians are supported because they are human beings being, massacred, where unspeakable crimes are happening towards them. It's not about the ideology.
what about all the other countries where people are being massacred and dying? I'm pretty sure there's like wars in some Asian countries right now and stuff like that, and
You're
no one
referring to
really
Sudan.
talks about
I
it.
mean,
And
yeah, this is why you see a lot of pro-Palestinian people are also very involved in the conflict in Sudan, and they want the conflict to end. You have the fucking RSF. I forget the name of the ethnic group, but the RSF are committing a fucking genocide in Sudan right now, and that shit needs to stop. That shit needs to end. It's just mainstream media is not picking up on it because, like, I don't know, dude, who the fuck cares? And like the mainstream American population, but the people who are tapped in on the Palestinian movement are also tapped in Sudan. Like they care.
yes,
Like
but
this is not just a
the
Palestinian
main thing
exclusive
they
thing.
talk about is Palestine. They don't care if more people are dying in other wars. Someone drop a super chat, drop like and subscribe button, drop a super chat. Someone please ask us a question.
I mean, this is like the stuff that I started, the issue that I started the conversation with.
Thailand and
People,
Cambodia. No one talks about that. I don't know if there's a
there's a
war
war
between
happening
them or
between
what's
Thailand and
going
Cambodia?
on.
Is there? I did not know. I've not
I
heard
don't
about
know, but
this.
someone commented Thailand and Cambodia.
Hmm. I'd have to look into that. I haven't heard anything about that. But yeah, I mean, it's the same reason I said at the start of the conversation, where the reason a lot of these people, these pro-Palestinian people, speak up about Palestine and not about like Ukraine or whatever as much is because America has direct control over whatever Israel does. I mean, like America has incredible leverage over Israel. If we tell Israel to stop, they stop. They have to stop. But I mean, with like the conflict in Sudan, uh, what can like the United States can't just like tell the RSF to stop. The RSF isn't gonna listen.
Well,
But
neither
Israel
is
has to.
Israel.
Well, we haven't told them to actually stop. Like what fucking Biden did was like, no, please listen to the red line, while continuing to give them all of the guns. Like, yeah, this is such a real threat. Like it's a
Someone
nothing burger.
commented, "Why is this whole debate about gay Jews?" It's not, but okay.
Real. Yeah, like as I said, America has not put in any effort to stop Israel. Uh, but if we did, they would stop. That's the reason there is so much pressure here. It's the same situation with the Vietnam War, where, I mean, technically the war was between North Vietnam and South Vietnam, countries different from the United States. But at the end of the day, South Vietnam was completely reliant on the United States. And the protests eventually got the United States to stop supporting South Vietnam. And then South Vietnam lost.
Well, isn't Trump trying to broker a peace agreement with Iran and Israel? Isn't that kind of
I've
telling them
not
to stop?
I've not heard this. What I have seen though is America under Trump has moved a shit ton of warplanes towards the Middle East. A shit ton of we have carrier strikers within the Straits of Hormuz right now. From what I'm seeing, it looks like we're ready to fucking help Israel and attack Iran. It doesn't look like we're pushing for any peace.
Well, two things. First off, this has been all over the news. Trump saying that he wants to broker a peace
Oh, you
agreement.
might cut out.
This has been all over the news. Trump wants to broker a peace agreement between Israel and Iran. And second off, I don't know if those planes were already there. Maybe they're being deployed and driven around. And maybe you can agree with this, but I think the Islamic regime of Iran needs to come to an end. But I don't think that bombing them and blowing them to pieces is a good way to do it. But off the top of my head, I really can't think of it because, like I said, women are being hung, homosexuals are being hung, all kinds of atrocious international crimes are happening in Iran.
I mean, I agree. It's like the regime in Iran is deplorable. I don't support any
Isn't
sort
that
of
what isn't that
American-led
what Hillary
regime
called
change
us?
operation, though. What'd you say?
I said deplorable. Isn't that what Hillary called us?
I
Trump
don't know.
supporters.
I'm not a Hillary guy.
Deplorable.
Yeah, like obviously the Islamic regime is bad, very bad. But I mean, the alternatives that Iran has had, the Shah was like an American puppet that like did like a fascist police state. Like any sort of American-led regime change operation, I don't think will lead to much better results. Historically speaking, like we've seen this shit happen in Chile. We've seen, I mean, what American involvement brought to fucking Bangladesh. Uh, like a genocide, by the way, is the answer. Uh, like it's very complicated. It's a very lose-lose situation for the Iranians involved, where on one hand, if you have America get involved, you have, an already bad regime turn into something very, very bad. That's something that I would argue is potentially worse. And if nothing happens, then you have a continuation of the regime. It's like, uh, what can you do
Do you
about it?
want them to
And
have nukes? Do you want them to have nukes?
I'm generally in favor of like smaller countries having nukes.
You
I
think
think that
Iran should have nukes?
I mean, yeah, just like I think Ukraine should have nukes.
I think they do
Countries
have
that
nukes, but they're hiding it. But I don't think
no,
either of those
Israel, no,
countries should have nukes. I don't want any
sorry,
countries to have nukes.
did I say Israel? I meant Ukraine. No, I think Ukraine should have nukes. Ukraine doesn't have
You
nukes.
said
Ukraine
Ukraine,
had
but I
nukes.
think Ukraine secretly has nukes.
No,
They
they
said they
don't.
gave them all up. They said they gave them all up to Russia. It was part of a peace negotiation a long time ago, but I don't believe them. And just like, I mean, I just like I don't believe certain countries don't have nukes. I think some countries have nukes and we don't know it.
I mean, Israel is one of these countries that say they don't have nukes, but definitely have nukes. Ukraine, the position that Ukraine is in, if they had nukes, they would be threatening to use them right now because their front line is like on the verge of collapse. Like they are losing very badly right now.
Maybe they don't have
If
nukes. Maybe they do. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if they had nukes, they'd be threatening to use them right now. Is the reason I don't think Ukraine has nukes. But the reason I think countries like Iran and Ukraine should have nukes is because they are countries who are at threat of invasion, of being imperialized by larger, more powerful countries. And I think that my core belief is that I think imperialism is one of the greatest evils in this world. And I think that imperialism, what it has caused, has been the most deadly force in human history. And I think that nuclear weapons, these large countries like the United States, Russia, China, they're not getting rid of their nukes. Nuclear disarmament isn't going to happen. And nuclear non-proliferation just means that these countries keep their nuclear advantage over smaller countries that they can bully. So,
Yes, but
what
you
should happen?
support the country of Iran so much you want them to be able to protect themselves. You support the government, the Islamic
Well,
Republic government that
it's
hangs
it's
and
not about
kills
supporting the
gays.
government. It's not about supporting the government. It's the dilemma I told you about before, where it's if you have American-led regime change that happens, that means very bad things for the people of Iran. But if you have the current government continue, that's also very bad. But I personally would think that not just for Iran, but for the wider world as well, American-backed regime change would not be a good thing. And I think I believe in it's not about protecting the government. It's more about protecting the sovereignty of these countries. Like if like fucking I don't know, like we lived in a universe where like we America was at risk of being invaded by Mexico and it was like a real threat. Like even though I don't approve of the American government, I would still say that America should have nukes, should have the ability to have nukes to defend itself.
So because you don't like Israel, you think Iran should have nukes. I mean, their own citizens don't think they should have nukes. They want to overthrow the Islamic Republic that kills women and gays, and if they give them nukes, that's just going to make it 100 times harder for us to
Well, I mean, I
overthrow the
haven't
Islamic
actually
Republic.
seen evidence of this. The only like militant groups that I know of that act against the Iranian government are Kurdish and Baluchistan militants, or they're separatists. They're not trying to
That's
overthrow the
because their
government.
own people can't act against them because they're killing their own people daily. They're too
Okay,
scared.
you literally have insurgents, like what America would call terrorists, operating in Kurdish regions and like the Baluchi regions. If like those people are acting like if you're trying to do any sort of struggle, obviously people are going to die. That is the nature of armed struggle. But if the Iranian people like like if there was this big, everyone in Iran hates the government type of sentiment that you're talking about, we would see some sort of movement trying to overthrow the Iranian government, which we do
They're
have not seen. Oh, you froze again.
every single time there's a movement, like girls that aren't wearing their burqas are getting beaten, thrown in prison, put in jail, hung. There's movements all the time in Iran to
Well,
overthrow the government.
I mean, if you can send me a link or like tell me about like an organization, I would love to know
I
because
don't
I
know
have
about a
not seen
specific
any
organization, but
organizations.
there probably is some. I mean, I guess you support the government there because you think they should have nukes and you think no one's trying to overthrow.
You froze again.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, you're back.
Sorry, I
Yeah,
don't
you're
know
back
what
now.
happened.
Yeah,
But I
I
thought you
can hear you now.
supported letting women be free and letting homosexuals be free. If you
Well,
support that, then why want to give
are you?
nukes so they can defend themselves against people trying to take over their country?
Well, I mean, historically speaking, nuclear weapons haven't really been used against like internal threats. I mean, you can look at the Soviet Union and the dissolution of the USSR for an example there. Uh, like it's more so if another country is trying to like take you over or like literally like invade you and make it so your country no longer exists. Like that those are the situations in which nukes get used or like are threatened to be used and like realistically have a chance of being used. Uh, with Iran, the reason I want them to have like nukes, and it's again, it's the same reason I want Ukraine to have nukes. It's not about the governments. It's about I believe in the right of nations to be able to defend themselves from countries trying to imperialize them, countries trying to take them over and exploit them.
Okay, two things. First off, someone's asking how they can join this discussion. Join the debate. Hit the like and subscribe button. The link for the Discord is in the bio. Somebody drop a super chat. And also, yeah, I don't believe every country should have a right to defend themselves. If you're killing innocent women just because it doesn't agree with their Quran, you're killing homosexuals because it doesn't agree with their Quran, and you have all these people that you're just innocently killing, I would say that's almost like killing the Jews in the Second World War. It's pretty much ridiculous. You're just killing them for nothing. I don't think a country should be able to defend themselves. I want Ukraine to, have their freedom too, but I don't think they should have a nuke because they're just gonna nuke Russia as soon as they lose the war, just like Iran will nuke Israel as soon as they lose the war. Instead of changing the regime and giving not a regular government instead of a radical Islamic government that kills, people that are LGBTQ and kills women for not covering their skin enough, we could have a regular government. But instead, no, they're just going to protect themselves and nuke anyone when they're about to lose in war. Like if they have nukes, they're never going to get invaded. You're right. I want them to get invaded so their government can change because I don't agree with their government. I think their government is a horrible, horrible government, and I think every single person that I've met from Iran, maybe 50, 60, maybe 70 people max, they all hate the government. I've never heard one person say, "Oh, such good, nice government." They all say the same thing. The only people that like the government are the elites getting millions and millions of dollars and living in giant mansions and taking all the people's money, and the people that aren't dying, that aren't LGBTQ or that aren't women. Like, they're literally attacking classes of people, and you're just like, okay, give them a nuke. That's fine. Let them defend themselves. Everyone deserves to defend themselves. No, I don't think
I
so. If you're killing people like Hitler, then I don't think you should be able to defend yourself. I think we should take them down before we get the nukes, because at that point it's over. We can't invade them after that. It'll be too difficult, too risky.
I think in these cases you have and with the case of the case of Hitler is different. Hitler literally invaded all of Europe. Like that's Hitler is very clearly the aggressor there. But in the case of countries like Iran, you can look at the history of Iran prior to the original Ayatollah Khomeini. You had the government of the Shah, which was a U.S. puppet regime, and then prior to that, you had a guy called Mossadegh, who was a very secular, very progressive guy, and the United States overthrew him because he nationalized Iranian oil. We put in the Shah. The Shah was incredibly abusive. As I said earlier, he created a literal police state where he did enacted fucking fascist violence. He did like fucking crimes against humanity against like minorities, including Azeris and Kurds within Iran. And then he was overthrown by Khomeini, which like the the issue here is that these sorts of things, American intervention, like another country intervening in these sorts of affairs, don't make them better. They make them worse. You can look at what's happened in Iraq. You had Saddam Hussein. We went in, we fucking put in the coalition authority, the fucking occupation government, and then since then we've had like our fucking Iraqi puppet state, and they've been beset by fucking ISIS militants ever since. Like you can look at Afghanistan. When the Russians invaded Afghanistan, it bolstered the Islamist movement within Afghanistan, the Mujahideen, because I mean we also supported them. And then they became very powerful. You had the Taliban take over. We invaded them, and now like the Taliban is more radical than it's ever been. The situation has gotten worse. American intervention in these affairs, you can say. I mean, also like you can also look at like I don't know, like uh, these affairs, like these interventions, you can make the argument that these governments are deplorable. These governments are horrible, horrible, and they need to go. But foreign intervention to get rid of these governments don't make it better. They make it worse. Which is why, like, I mean, you're a Trump. You're a Trumper. You should be anti-war. You should be, pro-American isolation to a degree, like I've said. The way these countries, the only way these countries can fix these issues is to sort it out internally.
Yes, but they can't defeat, and like the people in Germany couldn't overthrow Hitler by themselves. There was a reason they needed, foreign help. Look at Germany now. They're doing a lot better since, they overthrew Hitler. Yes, there's, historical things where we overthrew the you don't like Germany's government. Okay, me either. But this is another debate. They're still doing better after Hitler. There's no really debating that. Their economy is doing much better. Their society is much more functional, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there are governments that have been overthrown by foreign intervention, and they're doing much better. The Soviet Union, look at Russia now. I mean, yeah, they're in war, but all these, look, Yugoslavia, they're doing much better now. They are kind of overthrown by foreign intervention.
What? No, both Russia and Yugoslavia are doing infinitely worse than from pre-intervention.
They're not doing worse. How is Russia
This is just
doing worse?
you can look at the standard of living of the average Russian. Like you've gone from a system where people are getting free houses, you have shortages, sure, but you still have shortages in Russia today.
Free
Like
houses that
you
were like a cardboard box. You're
no,
pro
no.
communism or
Dude,
something?
the fucking houses that the Soviets built in countries like Hungary, they're fucking luxury apartments now. Like the fucking houses they're building now are worse.
Okay, it depends what kind of house. I don't know about the housing, but the income and the quality of living in Yugoslavia is 100% better. I mean, they're only making
No.
like $1,500 now. They're making like 20,000, 30,000 euros. And I know
If
this firsthand. I've traveled to almost every single country in Yugoslavia. Not one single person says, "Oh, I wish we were in communism still so we could live in the cardboard box." No one
I've met a
says
lot of
that.
people especially from Serbia, Bosnia, and Macedonia, who very much want Yugoslavia back. It depends on if you talk to older people,
Well,
because
yes,
I
of
mean,
course they want it
I
back,
know,
but they don't
well,
want it
I
back for
know a
better
lot of
living.
people. Well, yeah, because they had better living conditions under Yugoslavia. The only republic that's really better off, like post
So
Yugoslavia,
you're
is Slovenia.
pro-communism.
I'm pro Yugoslavia because Yugoslavia was just objectively a success. Like the pre 1980 IMF intervention. I know a lot about the history of Yugoslavia. Pre 1980 IMF intervention, Yugoslavia was one of the most prosperous economies in Europe. The United States destroyed the Yugoslav economy intentionally, and because of that, the standard of living declined. But compared to the pre intentional destruction of the economy to now, every single republic except for Slovenia, debatably, is doing worse off. And Slovenia, like their entire economy is owned by foreign countries at this point.
Croatia is undoubtedly doing better. Albania is undoubtedly doing better because they
Albania
had a
was not part of the
dictator in their
Yugoslavia.
country. Huh?
Well, yeah, Albania was not part of Yugoslavia. Albania, Hoxha was an interesting fellow. Uh,
I think it was part of Yugoslavia,
it
wasn't
was
it?
not. It was not. It was not.
Are
It
you
was an
sure?
independent. Dude, the reason that fucking Albania has bunkers all over it is because Hoxha thought Yugoslavia was going to invade Albania.
Yes, I know about him, but before him, they
No,
were a
it was
part of
never part of
Yugoslavia.
Yugoslavia. It was never part of Yugoslavia.
Can someone in the comments let me know, were they ever a part of Yugoslavia?
You had a majority Albanian region called Kosovo, which
Yes.
was part of Yugoslavia, but Albania itself, Kosovo is not part of Albania in the modern day. Albania has never been part of Yugoslavia. But yeah, like even Croatia right now, dude, fucking, you're never affording a house in Croatia. Like you could work two
You're
fucking
never
lifetimes, you're not
affording a
buying one.
house anywhere with minimum wage and anywhere in the world.
In Yugoslavia, you could. In
That's
Yugoslavia, they
because it
gave you
was
a fucking house.
communist and you'd be handed a cardboard box and you can never
No,
get
dude, the
rich. You're
fucking
just a
commune, dude.
communist.
I genuinely encourage you to look into the commie block system.
I've
Like,
seen commie
dude,
blocks before in person. They look like shithole apartments. I would not want to live there. I see
yeah,
people
dude, the
saying they
fucking
live
ones in
in that
Yugoslavia suck
stuff.
because all of the governments suck and they haven't maintained them. Like, yeah, if you have a fucking apartment
They're
complex that
gray.
hasn't been maintained in 30 years, it's gonna look like shit. But the ones in Hungary have been maintained. Like, I encourage you, go to Budapest, go to Budapest. The commie blocks that were there have actually been maintained, and by today's standards, that shit is luxury apartments. Like that shit went far. That shit
Okay,
went
you're
like fire.
mentioning
That shit
one
was
country.
yeah, because they're the like
All
Hungary.
the
I
other ones
believe
were probably shit. Communism didn't work. There's no debating it. The housing they gave you was never considered luxury. I've never heard that from anybody.
by modern standards, they were luxury apartments because modern, like the fucking like low income housing we build now is dog shit.
Yeah, and it was dog shit back then.
Well, in America, yeah, fucking Section 8 is
And
ass.
Yugoslavia
But
was dog shit.
no,
Everyone had the
like,
same housing and it wasn't good.
well, no, that's not true. But how I don't know what to tell you. Like, dude, copy blocks, like it's not just the housing itself. You had entire like neighborhood planning where you had like public spaces for everyone to meet up at, like there's a concept in neighborhood design called like third places, where you want to have places where people can come together, people can do stuff together that doesn't just involve like spending money. And you had intentional design where third places were always accessible. You always had a school in walking distance, you had a daycare in walking distance, you always had public transit available. Like the housing itself, I mean, I would say by modern standards was good, and so was the neighborhood design. Like the reason we fucking look at commie blocks and we shit on them today is because they've gone for like 30 plus years without any fucking maintenance.
We've always shitted on them. But I agree with everything else. Everything else was good. The salaries were much, much lower, even if you adjust for inflation and stuff like that. They were much, much, much lower. Today, yes, you had your free housing and all your great stuff like that. And yes, Yugoslavia was great. I agree with you that, but I just don't agree with the housing. I think that's the only thing we disagree about. But let's stay on US politics. This is something that's like out of the range of the original conversation. But yeah, I do agree with Yugoslavia being great. A lot of people do want Yugoslavia back, but I've never heard before for the housing. I've never heard that before. Yes, you can say, oh, housing is so expensive now. Maybe that's why. Other than that, I can't really think of a reason why you would. Even back then, these were mostly gray, colorless, no color apartment complexes with apartments, 50 units stacked on top of each other, an apartment here, an apartment there, in every single direction. I don't think that's quality living, in my personal opinion.
You're
But I
referring to
don't know
more like
about
the
the ones you're
old.
saying in Budapest or wherever. I don't
Yeah,
know about
you're
that.
the only ones that I know of that were like that were like the very old ones from like the 19 like late 1910s that were built under like Lenin in Moscow. They changed the design uh soon after that to not be like that.
We have this guy that's from Yugoslavia. Jacob, where are you from? That's definitely a very Yugoslav last name. Half Serbian, half Bosnian. Welcome to the live stream. Well, we're done, I think, with our Yugoslav conversation. But also, what do you think about? One more question, actually. What do you think about the communist housing in Russia? Do you think it's so great and so luxury to modern standards?
I mean, they haven't maintained it, so
I
it's
mean, do
not
you
like.
think it was good when they first made it? Because I don't think 50 apartments stacked on top of each other and you're in the middle of two units, a unit here and a unit here, is quality, great luxury living.
I mean the ones you're referring to are like the Leninists, like the ones where they essentially just made like dormitories because it was like they had like a lot of ideas about like social engineering. But they like that design you're talking about obviously wasn't good, but the ones they made afterwards were good. Like the ones I believe they started production like 1928. Like those
Thank
ones.
you, Henry. Apartment living is never luxurious, especially when you have a unit here, a unit here, a unit here, and a unit here.
Yeah. When I say luxury apartments, I'm not saying like you're living a life of luxury. Like there's a term,
It's not
luxury
like
apartment.
Miami Brickell. It's not like that. I
Like
think Russia is actually awesome in a lot of ways, but I don't fully agree with everything that the government does. But yeah, I think it's a beautiful country, and I would love to visit Moscow because it has a great history and has the most connected metro station in the world. So that's interesting. It's also a gorgeous, beautiful metro station.
yeah, you can
Yes, I
blame
know it's
you can thank
communist.
Stalin for that one.
Yeah, I know Stalin did it. I said, yes, I know it's communist when you were laughing. Yes, I know it's communist. But yes, I agreed with what you said. I said they did great with their public transportation. The only thing I disagree with you is that, their living was so much better. They didn't have free market opportunities. They couldn't just make a business or they couldn't make content, like TikTok, internet. But that's a whole other shit. The internet wasn't even around. But if it was, they wouldn't be able to do any of that because, they're not free market economy. That's communism is against that. They wouldn't be able to make a business and make all the money they want to. But
Uh,
I don't know. Maybe we can ask this guy in the comments. Do you think?
we can talk about it. We can talk about it later. The Yugoslav system was very different. They definitely could have done that in the Yugoslav system, but I mean, we can talk about this later if you want. I also have some book recommendations on the topic if you'd want them, but
Yeah, sure. I'd love to learn more about Yugoslavia.
if you want to learn more about the collapse of Yugoslavia, I would highly recommend. Uh, it's from an author, Michael Parenti. It's called "To Kill a Nation: The Attack on Yugoslavia." I would highly recommend that. Uh, and Michael Parenti in general is a very good author if you want to read into some of his stuff. Uh, Also, if you want to learn about like Yugoslav economics, there's I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's like Branko Horvat. He was a Yugoslav economist during the time, during like the mid to late Yugoslav era. Uh, he has a lot of stuff on JSTOR. I don't know if you have an account. If you're like in a university, or you should have like a school account that you can use. Uh, yeah, like his stuff I would recommend. Yeah.
Someone commented something great. I love this car, the Yugoslav car, the Yugo. One of the best old cars in history. The Yugo.
Yeah. I mean,
One
it's
day
one
I
of
would like
the
to own a Yugo.
yeah, one of the pros of worker self-management. Yeah.
They need
I mean,
everything, but I
what do you
don't
want to
know.
shift the conversation to something else? Like, I don't know. We can come back to this later if you want.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about? I'll let you pick a topic now. I'm the one that kind of just started talking about Yugoslav, I'm pretty sure.
Real. Uh, and I don't
It
know.
was like a little Honda Civic. Nah, Honda
Yeah,
fucking sucks, man. The Yugo is better.
that's true. Okay. Uh, I don't know. You just pick a topic, dude. Because like, uh, we got into the fucking Yugoslav mode, and like I read a lot about socialist history, so I'm like my brain's like stuck in that mode now.
Are you a socialist?
I'm left wing. I don't really like to use labels.
But do you believe you want the U.S. to be a socialist country?
I think workers owning their own workplaces is a good thing. If you want to call that socialist, then sure.
I mean, I would just call that starting your own business.
Well, I don't think like everyone should be a small business owner. I think, you know, do you know what a worker co-op is?
Yeah, I know some about a worker co-op. Yeah.
I mean, I think an economy organized around worker co-ops is a good thing. Would be good. If you want to call
I
that
mean, someone
socialist,
can start their own business like a worker co-op. I mean, they have free market system, but you don't hear any big famous worker co-op businesses operating in the U.S. right now, as far as
well, yeah,
I'm hearing.
they're much bigger in Latin America. I mean, in the United States, you have just there's a lot of barriers to entry in general for new businesses, which is the reason you don't hear a lot about them. And worker co-ops, they're technically less efficient production-wise, but that's because they're not like fucking over the workers every 2 seconds to produce like one more unit.
Yeah, I'm not sure what barriers of entry you mean. I mean, they can just set up an LLC for like $100 and start their worker co-op.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what comparative advantage is?
Yeah, something. Yeah, you can
I mean,
explain it to me. But are you trying to say that they're going to work harder because they own a percentage of their company, even though they didn't do anything to start the company?
yeah, I mean that's an argument for co-ops. You have when you are directly rewarded for the work you make, because under like the current structure, you get paid a wage and that's it. But in a cooperative structure, every single worker is directly incentivized to work as hard as possible because, the better that the company does, the more they get paid.
I agree with you. It sounds like a genius idea, but my only question is, if it's such a great idea and it works so well, then why isn't it like $1 billion company in any place in the world? There's no $1 billion company that's like this.
It's because with privately owned, we're right now we're comparing private ownership to cooperative ownership. Under private ownership, there are a lot of, I mean, I can go into the economics if you want. Private ownership technically is more productive. You produce more units. It's more efficient than cooperative ownership. It's worse for the workers, but it's more efficient. So you can generate more profit that you can then use to reinvest into the company, into growing the company and making more profit. And because of this, comparative advantage develops, and the bigger company is able to just drown out the smaller company. You see this with just like privately owned small businesses too, where like, fucking companies like Walmart are just able to like lower their prices to a point where the small business can't compete, like the small grocery store or whatever, like whatever business model you want to say can't compete, so they have to shut down. With cooperative structures versus private structures, this is worse because like the cooperative isn't willing to do stuff like mass layoffs or like uh, fuck over the workforce just to make a couple more bucks.
Well, if someone fucks up or they aren't doing a good job, I think there should be mass layoffs.
Well, if individuals are doing badly, the people within the co-op can still fire them. Uh, the the difference is like mass layoffs where like a huge portion of the company goes is like that's not like somebody fucking up thing. That's like a you firing thousands of people thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think co-op is a good idea, but at the same time, it just doesn't work as well as capitalism, unfortunately. This
I mean, it's
single
less
owned
efficient.
business.
Yeah, I mean yeah. I mean it's less efficient, that's true, but it depends on what you mean by working. I think that we should create a society where, you know, average people have the best standard of living, best quality of living possible. And I mean, under the current system, we're not getting that. I think that under a cooperative system, it would also have different effects on our political environment that I think would be beneficial. But uh, I think a cooperative structure, just strictly from like an economic perspective, would be better for the average person than what we have now.
Still no super chats. This could be a co-op environment, but no one's dropping me super chats. Can you see me, by the way? I'm gonna turn my camera on
No,
and
your
off.
camera's off.
My camera's off.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. It's not letting me turn it back on. Okay, there we are. There we are. Now it's back
It's
on.
still off for me.
Give it a second, maybe. Give it a second. Nothing?
No. It's fine. We can just continue. I can still hear you.
Okay, that's crazy. Silence him better. Silence his mic. You can leave. You're welcome to leave if you want to leave the live stream. This guy really hates me. He joins like every stream.
Yeah.
What did Jacob say? Someone said he said a really good idea.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I can go into like the political ideas if you want, like on how it impact our politics. But I mean, I don't know. I think workers having a more of a say in how a company is run is just better for the workers, which you and me both are at the end of the day.
In US, some companies offer profit sharing, someone said.
I mean, profit sharing is like a halfway point. I wouldn't. I personally would say it's not adequate because at the end of the day, decision making is still in the hands of, the corporate boss.
That's another good point. I don't think the average worker can really comprehend the decision making skills, to be fair. Like, I don't, for example, even like a small business, like a restaurant, I don't think a dishwasher or someone serving food can comprehend what's right for a restaurant and what's not right for a restaurant, especially if they just started working at a place like a restaurant like 2 months ago. How would they know what's good for the business and what's not good for the business?
Well, I think that I mean, I think this is like a more common sense thing, but like I don't know. I think the people who are actually doing the work on the ground know the situation better than just the guy who's getting like fucking reports written up about it.
Yeah, but
Uh,
the people that are, people on the ground in a restaurant, yes, they know about customer service. They don't know a lot about the technical side or the laws of running a restaurant or the accounting or how a restaurant runs financially or how to maneuver and operate and what menu items are profitable and things like that. They don't understand all the dynamics of a restaurant. They know about the customer service, they know about the things they deal with, they have firsthand experience there, but they don't understand how everything operates.
Well, I would say that the most of the time the business owner doesn't know those specifics either. What they do is they hire somebody else who knows what those things like about those things
Sometimes,
and have
yeah.
them like advise them, have them do that shit. But I mean, there's nothing that's like there's no reason that workers in a cooperative can't do the same thing and hire people who have expertise in those subjects.
So you're saying to hire someone with some expertise. Someone drop me a super chat. This dude is mocking me. Drop a super chat. He said he'll pay our education expenses. $0 check. Here's a super chat. Free college to everybody. That's actually a liberal idea I believe in. How many people do you know that will die for a lie? Look, I'm just curious, sir.
Mm. Uh,
Anyway, I have to go in a minute. But if there's anything else you want to say, I'm welcome to listen to it. It was a
yeah, I
great
mean,
conversation.
yeah, it was a good conversation. I don't know. If you want to learn more about, I mean, where I'm coming from at least, I can send you, I mean, there's some lectures that you could send I could send you some book recommendations, like up to you.
Yeah, definitely send me some recommendations, and I'll send you that immigration law thing that I said that they can be taken out if they're concerned for public safety. Green card, student visa, but I understand that one woman, like you said, from what you heard, she didn't break any of those anyway. So, but yeah, I'll send it to you.
All right. All right, well, good talk. I'll see you.
See you guys. Thank you for watching, everybody. Hit the like and subscribe button. Join the Discord if you want to talk with either of us. We're both in there. All right. Peace out. Talk
I'd
to you
say
later, bro. Nice talking with you. Bye.